Welcome to episode 44 of The Working Hour with Mike and Shane. I'm Mike, and sitting across the table from me is my best friend and co-host Shane. Shane, I'm going to go ahead and tell the listeners the bonus track I selected for this week's show, and then I'll hand it over to you. For the bonus this week, I have chosen Teacher by Jethro Tull. Stay tuned at the end of the episode for our thoughts on that. With no further ado, though, Shane, go ahead and tell us the album for this week and start the show.
So, this week's album, we are going to be reviewing Build a Rocket, Boys by Elbow. It has an exclamation point.
I was going to say, you did it. What? Yeah, you gave it some justice there.
So it was released March 4th, 2011, with a runtime of 51 minutes and 42 seconds. The genre is alternative rock and indie rock. Singles include Neat Little Rose, Open Arms, Lippy Kids, and Dear Friends, which I'm kind of surprised. Like, some of my favorite songs are not singles.
Yeah, I was surprised there actually was that many singles, because some of them actually have like pretty long run times too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there was like a radio released version,
Sure.
shortened down a little bit. I don't know.
Which some of these tracks, like The Birds is like 8 minutes. I'm like, okay, that makes sense to not be a single unless it like really got cut. And then like, The Birds reprised, like, no. But anyway, the album received a Metacritic rating of 82 out of 100. Build a Rocket Boys is the fifth studio album by English rock band Elbow. It is the follow-up to the highly successful The Seldom Seen Kid. Like its predecessor, the album was self-produced by the band in Blueprint Studios in Manchester. The album's title, track listing, and cover art were accidentally revealed by frontman Guy Garvey on the 22nd of December in 2010. It is said to be influenced by Garvey's childhood, as he moved back to the area he grew up in before the album was recorded, and is aimed to appease both their traditional fan base and those who took a shine to the arena anthems of The Seldom Seen Kid. The band's success, according to Garvey, made it difficult for the band to continue in the same vein when it came to lyrics. For as Q Magazine put it, when heartbreaking melancholia is your currency, success and contentment can be a problem. The group's frontman admitted that due to being too happy, he had to look elsewhere for lyrics. I can't sincerely write about where I am because I'm doing okay. It wouldn't work. So that is what I have. Before we get into the album, what do you have?
I have one little thing. I thought you would get a kick out of this. In July 2011, Elbow and Robinson's Brewery announced a release of a cask ale named after the album. This was unveiled at the Manchester Food and Drink Festival on the 13th of October 2011. The beer was available by the cask or in a case of 8 bottles and was served at various Robinson's pubs and at the brewery. Originally intended for a 2-month run, 2-month run, easy for me to say. Its popularity, though, kept it an active product until the end of 2013. So that must have been pretty good. So
Okay.
yeah, that's all I have. I just want to throw that in there. I saw that and thought you'd get a kick out of it.
Interesting. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of like, is there any floating around anywhere?
Yeah, I don't know.
Nice golden ale. Doesn't sound bad. All right, that is cool. So starting the album off, we are starting with track number 1, The Birds, coming in at 8 minutes and 3 seconds. There's like a very quiet breath followed by some light tapping and rattling. Before more tapping layers in, before the tapping takes us right into the drumming. The guitars come in, then around 30 seconds the vocals layer. From what I can tell, both sets of vocals are sung by the lead singer, just different pitches and deliveries. This makes for like a really serene but like kind of psychedelic sound. They're also punctuated by the bass implemented alongside them. I've always been a fan of Guy Garvey's vocal work, and just the band's writing. I think it's really good, even though I haven't known a lot by them. I knew like from the jump whenever I first heard them, like, oh, I like this. Guy's vocals have a way of making them, I don't know, making like ambiguous lyrics sound like really poetic and grandiose. I like the birds. Though I wore your glacial patience to a smudge of bitter dust, On the last day you embrace me with a glittering sapling trust. Around 3 minutes in, after the first set of vocals before the chorus, the guitar pulls back and the vocalization goes soft with a woo, and we get some faint twinkling before the music picks up after about 30 seconds. The bass comes in loud and some keyboard comes in and the guitar like starts to rev back up. Vocals become a little repetitive for the chorus. What are we gonna do with you? Same tale every time. Did they sing a million blessings? What are we gonna do with you? Come on inside. Looking back is for the birds as they watched us slowly part. At 5:10, the music picks up even more as it becomes almost orchestral with strings and some pretty deep keys. At 5:45, the vocals hit their peak and drag out. The backing vocals come in softer beneath, maintaining the psychedelic sound from earlier. At 7:28, while the music pulls back and starts to wind down to close out the song, while I've heard the song before, this listen, I think I don't know. I kind of overlooked it before due to enjoying later tracks like prior to hearing this. The song is it's big, it's long, it's not a quick listen by any means, but I think it's really well made. And clocking in at 8 minutes, I know you hate throwing this word around, but I mean it's kind of an epic of a song. Just how much time it takes to get where it's going, and it does a lot in that time. I give it a 3.8 out of 5.
Nice. So yeah, I put it's like a ticking, but I think the tapping, ticking, whatever you want to call it, it's a pretty slow, mellow drip intro. I do think it's a great intro track just based on how slow and mellow it is. It's nothing spectacular on the intro, but it's simple, it's clean, it's a pretty good vibe, it's an easy listen. Um, there's some cello on this track too, which I thought was a nice touch. It kind of shows itself a little bit early on, but I'll get to it later, and you touched on it. Um, but there's a nice touch of keyboard and synth as well on this track, and of course your standard electric and acoustic guitar and some bass guitar, and some light percussion too. I feel like I usually focus on the closing track more, but this is a great start to the album. It's something I feel like they could open with live because it just builds with some really good energy. The opening verses give us some great lyric delivery and just excellent writing, in my opinion. The birds are the keepers of our secrets, and they saw us where we lay. I think it's just, I don't know, it almost paints like imagery of just two people like laying in a field, and you're almost the bird, like for me anyways, because I can picture just people in, you know, in a field or something. That's where my imagery goes with the song. Um, the opening set of lyrics is very slow on its delivery, and there's some vocal layering. Not sure if it's just Garvey or someone else, kind of like what you said. I'm assuming it is Garvey because I didn't see anybody else listed, and I'm sure you're kind of in the same boat, Shane, with that. Um, but it's like a nice little contrast, like you mentioned, Shane. It kind of just sounds like it's Garvey's just singing at two different pitches. Around the 3 minute mark, there's some ooze, just some instrumental slowly shifting around 325. It's very electronic and digital synth sounding right there. It's a really good mix in my opinion, though. It's the vocals kind of lay over this digital synth. Shortly after Garvey's vocals are a little. Shortly after that, Garvey's vocals are a little more direct here. The song slowly increases in its energy, like I was kind of saying, and just slowly builds. Around the 5:10 mark, it's funny we have like the same timestamps here as one we would.
Sure.
The instrumental side, though, around 5:10 is it kind of really peaks. Everything's kind of combined into the digital synth from the intro and Garvey's vocals. They kind of go into a more orchestral sound. They aren't so direct either or delivered in a talking way. He's just kind of singing, which is kind of a theme through the album, whether Garvey is talk singing or actually like just using his beautiful voice to sing. There's some more vocal layering here again, but no real changes from the 5 minute 45 mark to the end of the track for me. Song does slow down a little bit and lose some of its momentum before fading out. For the runtime being just over 8 minutes, usually I have a hard time liking a track like this. But I did like this one. It's not something I'd seek out all the time and listen to, but if I had a physical copy of this, I'd have no problem giving up 8 minutes for this track. It's a very smooth intro to the album, I believe. I wasn't quite as high as you were, Shane, but I gave this a 3.5. And honestly, I could probably go a little higher. It has Elbow itself has grown on me, so I could give that a 3.7 easily because it is. I don't want to say ballad of a track, but it is like a ballad of a track because it's just
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
there's like I'm listening to it right now. I just hear like these big soaring vocals. Well,
Yeah.
this yeah.
It's very professional. Moving on though, track 2. With a runtime just 6 seconds over 6 minutes, we have Lippy Kids, which is also the third single. So the track slowly comes to life with the repetition of a piano key and some subtle bass. Lyrics are first delivered around the 50-second mark with the title of the song, Lippy Kids on the Corner Again. Lippy Kids on the Corner begin settling like crows. Another well written song that kind of hits me in the feels with the repetition of Lippy Kids on the Corner Again. Also, specifically the delivery of Do They Know Those Days Are Golden? Because I think we talked about it last week when we were hanging out. Just about how this is kind of like just about kids. I don't know. I'm older now, so when I see some kids just hanging out, I like reminisce a little bit, and it's like, man, you guys don't know how good you have it right now. And I feel like my dad was that way when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, why the hell do you guys want to hang out inside? Go outside and play because you're kids. So I don't know. For me, it kind of struck a chord a little bit. But it goes from that, Do They Know These Days Are Golden, to Build a Rocket Boys, Build a Rocket Boys. It's really sentimental and directly delivered by Garvey. I read that the song is sort of about the British media and how they complain about the youth, something along those lines, something like that, just kids loitering and stuff, which I feel like is such a old person's take about just kids not doing anything and yada yada.
Yeah.
But it's pretty mellow again musically, but maintains that smooth piano, bassy lullaby throughout the 6 minute runtime entirely. We get a little bit more variety here with the instruments. We got violins, cellos, some brass, and it gives the song kind of a rich, sad, and hopeful sound. I also saw they utilized a choir for the backing vocals, which they do on like more than half the album. I think it's like 6 tracks.
Damn. It's a
I
good
think,
bit. It's a
yeah.
good bit. I know that.
Don't quote me on that, but it's quite heavy with the choir. Uh, Garvey's vocals are again the selling point, though. Writing is solid on this one too. I feel like it wasn't overdone. They could have made the song more droopy and sad, but I think it's pretty upbeat for what it is. Uh, Around the 5 minute mark, the track quiets down a little bit and just kind of holds tempo with the repetition of the piano note from the intro, which just kind of increases and decreases in sound. A little bit of a change up with piano accent keys playing us out as the track slowly faded in. Um, I'm not as high on this one. Well, actually, I was a little bit higher. I gave the. Technically, I'm a little bit lower because I did up my score from the previous track. I gave this a 3.6. To me, it's not as high of an energy track as the opening track, but I like the concept of this track more. So, 3.6.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, funnily enough, the opening to the song reminds me a lot of "The Night Will Always Win." This time, much faster and hopeful, and it's repeating piano keys and the whistling and the bass. It almost serving as like the bass kind of serves as like a light percussion. It's a good like 50 seconds before we get any vocals. Lippy kids on the corner again, settling like crows. Elbow has a way of making you hang on like the vocals and breaks between them. Like they space them out quite a bit, and it kind of makes you like,
They're never in a hurry.
yeah, they take their time. I respect that. I also appreciate the reference to crows after the first song being the birds.
Ha, crow type of
Oh.
bird.
At 128, this really optimistic swell of instrumentation starts as the vocals pick up. Do they know those days are golden? Build a rocket, boys. Build a rocket, boys.
But I feel like it's delivered. It's not like that. It's very.
Build a rocket,
Yeah.
boys.
It's like, oh, when you say it like that, yeah.
But yeah, the Build a Rocket Boys repeats with some like very delicate piano keys in the background. There's a lot of subtlety in the instrumentation to the song. I really do appreciate. They contrast the more like bold vocals and just serve as like a great companion to them. The song is pretty melancholic, yet pretty in its tone. This is highlighted, in my opinion, in the lines, "You were freshly painted angels, walking on walls, stealing booze and hour-long hungry kisses, and nobody knows me at home anymore."
That's a good line too. I
Yeah.
like that one.
And I feel like that, like, I feel like Nobody Knows Me at Home Anymore is very fitting to, like, this album and just what they were going for. From 520 to 551, the piano keys hit with more weight in these, like, beautiful bursts to close out the song. 2 tracks in, and I'm really enjoying this album quite a bit. I'm very impressed thus far. I probably enjoy track one more, but this one being 2 minutes shorter makes it a hell of a lot more palatable. I Yeah, so why I liked track one more, this one was just, it trimmed some of that extra time off. I gave this a 3.9 out of 5. On to track number 3. We have With Love coming in at 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Uh, this song really made me sit and listen and take in its sound. Musically, it's pretty elaborate. I found myself trying to like dissect like what went into it. Song opens with some acoustic strings before what I'm pretty sure is some percussion, bass guitar, and claps hit along with these very rapid, higher piano keys. The tone of the song is very light and upbeat. It's about 12 seconds before Guy's singing begins. That's one thing I've noticed with them is they either come in like right away or they're like, yeah, let's make you wait like a minute before we come in. So let's see here. The delivery and mixing on the vocals have like a closeness to them. I can almost hear like the surrounding space in the recording booth. We get a few quick lines from Guy before "With Love" is sung with multiple backing vocals, kind of that choir that you were talking about before.
Mm-hmm.
It just I don't know. It really jumps out at you. It's like it's kind of singing like this with love. Is like, oh hello. In my research on the song, I saw that I'm gonna fucking butcher this. The balalaika, and and a dulcimer were used. Both are stringed instruments known for their folky sound, and it got me rethinking a lot of like what instruments went into this song. Some are definitely used coming off of the lines "with love." The bling 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 bling. This song also doesn't really have much of a chorus. Verses, hooks. It's really just verses, hooks, and a bridge only. From like 209, I don't know, kind of almost reminds me of like a faint harmonica in the background as Guy's vocals become more muted. Love will find you out. The backing vocals are much more clear as somebody with a kind word would know. As anybody with a kind word would know. This repeats pretty much the rest of the song with an occasional with love. The three different vocals all coming together with one final strum of a stringed instrument. Really unique song. I'm more impressed by it than I actually like it. I gave it a 3.4, but I could go up to a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this track kind of utilizes that one note piano key similar to Lippy Kids. The song is a little bit quicker tempo and more energetic, I thought, especially with some utilization of like some hand claps and some nice. There's a little bit of a heavy bass bump here and there. Um, I noted on the previous track about the choir background singers. I hear them way more on this track, like they're way more prevalent. Might butcher the name here. I think it's the Halle Youth Choir is a specific group. Like I said, I might be butchering it. Um, but I think the choir and the hand claps really like bring a new vibe into the album. I mean, I know we're only 3 tracks in, but this track is a little bit different, especially versus the previous 2 tracks. As far as the lyrics, Garvey's vocals are pretty slow delivery, but his vocals again are excellent. The opening vocals, best intentions bring joyless droughts. This is spread out over just 7 seconds. It's very slow delivery, like we were talking about. They kind of take their time. This speed is pretty much maintained until about 45 seconds when the choir rather, joins Garvey and they deliver the title of the track with love, and it's nice. This track reminded me a little bit of Alt J, a little bit.
Okay.
I think Garvey's vocals, and I don't know the guy from Alt J off the top of my head,
Sure.
but they sound similar enough. Um, there's a nice little distortion effect too on the piano on this track that creates like a little bit of a neat sound. But I think I was a little bit off on that. I think that's the instruments you were talking about, Shane, because it's kind of coming off of the "Will of."
Mm-hmm.
Some reason I was thinking that was a piano, but uh, anyways, the concept of the song, it reminds me of something. I know I'm relating Alt J, but I also feel like a little bit of Gorillaz to the concept.
Okay.
Specifically Demon Days, because that's really the album that I'm super familiar with. I feel like the Alt J vibe is a little bit stronger, but I feel like if you make this a little bit more pop, rappy R&B sounding, and I think it's a little bit more Gorillaz esque. The piano is definitely the foundation of this track, but the hand claps, the bass, the chorus, the choir. I don't know why I keep saying the chorus. Um,
Because of me.
yeah, probably. I was just thinking that. I wasn't gonna say it, but yeah. Um, and Garvey's vocals obviously are excellent too. It's altogether it's an excellent pairing. There's a nice upbeat vibe about this track. I was telling Shane actually off mic before we started recording that I was listening to this and this came up on my Spotify today randomly when I was just at work, and it wasn't on my like songs, but I literally just added it while we were recording because I do like it. I don't really necessarily know if it's better than the first two tracks or worse. Um, I kind of I'm gonna adjust my score on the fly on this too. I originally gave it a 3.5, but I'm gonna go with 3.7 on
Okay.
this. Um, and this still falls under the same as the Birds from track one. If I had a physical copy, this is fun. Like I have no problem with this song at all. Moving on though, track number 4, we have "Neat Little Rose" with a runtime of 5 minutes 39 seconds. This was also a single. Instantly, I like the intro on this track more, kind of more than anything up until this point on the album. Oh, I just went one song too far. Um, there's kind of like a little bit of a throbbing bass line and some deep percussion. The vocals come in at the 10-second mark very quick. Garvey's vocals are, I don't want to say loud, but they're just, there's there's like an effect on them too. Almost like a phone effect, or he's like talking through something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just distorted a little bit, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And this is really the first time I've noticed this on the album up to this point. At the 54-second mark, the track really picks up the first delivery of the chorus, and right before this, the piano comes in and kind of continues the delivery of the chorus. As Garvey exits the chorus, he goes right back into like a talk singing instead of melodic like the chorus itself. The chorus itself, though, is all right. Lay my bones in cobblestone, lay my bones in neat little rows. Lay my bones in cobblestones, lay my bones in neat little rows. It's certainly the high point for me is the chorus. It's not my favorite song, writing or concept wise, but musically it's still pretty good. It's hard not to vibe to this track, just kind of based on the tempo. I don't want to say it's a toe tapper, but it's up that alley. There's a little bit of an extended instrumental section around the 2 minute 36-second mark. Kind of keeps the traditional tempo from before, but we get some weird background vocals. It sounds like what I put was like a mob or people screaming. I don't know. It's a little eerie sounding. 3 minutes 4 seconds, we get a completely different sounding vocals. I couldn't find anything that said it isn't Garvey, but to me it sounds just a little different. So I don't know if you have anything to throw on there on that or not. Definitely some vocal layering though on post 3 minute mark. Track loses a little bit of its magic after that 3 minute mark for me. It's still catchy enough to me, but kind of got going, but never really peaked for me. The extended music selection section, along with the use of repetition, kind of I don't know, lost a little bit for me on this track. And I was just kind of coming off with Love, which I really do like that track. I give this a little bit of a lower score. Still not bad though. Again, physical copy of this, I have no problem with it. But this score is a little bit lower with a 3.3.
Okay. So I got this one as like a standout for being one of the more like rock oriented songs, if not the most rock oriented song off the album. The song opens with like some electric guitar, bass, and some layered drum beating. Some of the drum beats have like a deeper echo to them. The vocals come in not too long into the song. The verse has a nice little build up to it. Uh, Found myself astride a tiger, lifting my head, just like you said. Drown me in doubt of ire. Get me to bed, O Lord. There's a nice pop of music as the instrumentation revs up and the keys ring out. Guy belts out his vocals on the chorus. Lay my bones in cobblestone. Lay my bones in neat little rows. At 2:34, we get an instrumental section with this like whining, scratchy strings as the percussion repeats. At 3:03, the vocals come back in, more spacey and dreamy. In this White House where they grew up, there were secrets and saints that the eyes that would give anything to the. At 4:19, we get some repeating vocalization. The yada da 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 da. It like syncs up with the keys as the song builds up to its crescendo to close out the song. As it winds down, crashing like vocals and drums, it's has a nice like finale to it. I gave this a 3.6 out of 5. On to track number 5. The next two songs are a bit of a departure from the album up until this point. The previous four managed to have a lot going on musically, complex at times. The next two are pretty simple for the most part. This song is a favorite of mine off the album. The song is very folk in its sound, with acoustic guitar, very subtle bass, and just minimal kick drum percussion. The vocals are spoken word, kind of lending to that folk sound, in my opinion. This being on the shorter side when it comes to runtime, it wastes no time getting going. The instrumentation, for the most part, and the vocals come in right away. The only other major instrument used in the song reveals itself 53 seconds. A Rhodes keyboard with repeated keys coming off as these electronic boops just. The writing of the lyrics is very introspective with some lines that I really do enjoy. And Jesus is a watchtower, go. 45 CDs. Got a house that you can smoke in. So all my friends found me. I see you tearing up over there. Wipe the tear away. At 117.
My eye was itching.
At 117, when Guy sings a single shining sister, there's like a faint little twinkle, just bling, and that's the only time it shows up on the song. And I just thought that was just a nice little touch. You know what I mean? The last 10 or so seconds of the song, the guitar winds down before some brief piano keys, and one last little bit from the keyboard. I really like the quick pause before the final boop. The boop. I like that.
Yeah. No, it sends the track out on like a very, I don't know. It's hard to, I couldn't put like a word to describe it, but it's nice.
No,
it's like, almost like the highlight of the track in a way.
It's a fitting. It knows what it is, and it knows when it needs to be, and it is that.
Yep.
I know it's kind of ambiguous.
No, that's the perfect way. I couldn't have said it any way better.
Yeah. But yeah, I really like that. I feel like the keyboard contrasts with the acoustic guitar and the kick drum really well, and it really ties the song together. It seems like a weird thing to put into this very folky sounding song, but it really fucking works. This band impresses me with how layered they can be, while also shining with like more stripped down songs. I gave this a 4.1 out of 5.
Nice.
Yeah.
So like you were saying, Shane, the next this track and the following track, pretty simple, and that's literally what I have as the opening line for track 5. Pretty simple instrumentation from start to finish. But I like this one, even though it is very simple. Even Garvey's vocals here are pretty mellow and unchanged. It's almost, I don't want to say he's whispering, but it's very softly spoken. The song starts with just some acoustic strumming, and Garvey's vocals start at the 10-second mark. Again, going pretty quickly, as you said, Shane. Garvey is delivering vocals in a talk-singing type of delivery, as he does. The keyboard makes its first appearance around the 54-second mark. It's a nice touch, too. It's almost got like a synth effect sound to it a little bit. There's some light percussion in the song, but it's very subtle. the song is one of the first that I can kind of really think of. Um, that if I'd never done these notes or done this podcast with you, I don't know if I'd be a huge fan of this track, but it's kind of just because it's kind of just so. It's very like mellow and calm.
And it doesn't
Doesn't
change a lot.
Yeah, it doesn't really jump off the page at any point, but the meaning of the song is kind of what won me over. And I talked to you a little bit about this last week. I read that the track is kind of nostalgic um, for Guy Garvey when he was about 22 years old. I read it was around the time where he lost like his religious faith from his childhood, adolescence era, and also it was the lyric "Jesus is a Rochdale girl." Is referencing a woman who was in Garvey's life that kind of helped him during this low period of his life. It's kind of unclear to me if that was his girlfriend or whatever have you, but I just kind of look at it as someone who kind of helped him out, and that's kind of what the song is about. Um, it reminds me a little bit of this is a stretch, but just the concept wise of "About a Girl" by Nirvana, because that's literally what that song was about. It's just having
Girl there.
yeah, exactly. Thank you. Just concept wise, not at all musically wise, just concept wise. Um, I do like the lyrics though, and Jesus is a Rochdale girl, and 45 CDs, got a house that you could smoke in, so all my friends found me, which obviously we both like that. But it's got some nostalgic feel to it. I think the things you treasure at 22, which I guess is kind of, I've read that a lot of this album was Garvey's like early lyrics work. They kind of went back through some of the stuff that he wrote when he was a lot younger. So I think this is just kind of him reflecting a little bit. And I like the opening lyrics too. I have a drop leaf window with cats and broken yards, sunflowers and paint cans, and stolen shopping carts. I think it just kind of prints the scene that he was, just not really in the best of areas, best of times. It was kind of just like I don't know, a rough thing. And he had 45 CDs
But
and
it's what you had.
had a house he could smoke in, and all of his friends found him. I don't know, it's nice. But it kind of sets the scene too. And it's kind of a raw track, even though it's so soft and it's innocent sounding. I like the depth that it provides once I read into it. I also too, like you, Shane, I'm a big fan of the outro with the keystrokes being a little off. It's a nice little touch to the end of the track. And overall, yeah, this isn't something I'd bump real loud, but
I don't think it's
shocker,
meant to be.
yeah, the whole album is kind of on that way where you're not supposed to bump it real loud, but it might be the first track that I really vibe with, meaning wise and or concept. I gave this a 3.9.
Okay. Not to cut you off, but like I like the fact that I can pretty much hear the song without the synth, without the and it just seems like such a random but simple thing to include that it works.
Yeah.
And also at the very end of the song, like right before that last little I like you get like some very distinct piano. And I feel like that kind of like makes the payoff for it being off hit more. I don't know. It's a really good song. I
Yeah.
really like it.
Yeah, no, it is, for sure. Moving on, though. Track number 6, The Night Will Always Win, with a runtime of forwards or backwards. It's the same, 4 minutes, 24 seconds.
Tenet.
This is the only track I knew coming into this. And actually, Shane, someone was showing me a trailer of Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
Oh, are you sure it wasn't the opening cutscene before the game starts?
I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. That was actually Shane that showed me that. No, I just had to write that in there. And if you listened to last week's episode, Steely Dan, this was actually the bonus track.
Which, I mean, this is a first for us because I know we've done bonus tracks that turn into reviews later on. This is the first time it's ever been bonus track review.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I thought, what the hell?
I had to talk Shane into it. He was skeptical.
It came down. Didn't it come down to a coin flip?
That's how we do it anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it did come down to the coin flip.
Yeah, because I knew I wanted to do something by Elbow.
Mm-hmm.
It was between this and
the previous,
Seldom Seen Kid.
Which was, what year did that come out?
2000.
I was going to say 8.
8?
Okay, right? I think it's 8 then. Because that rings a bell in my head. But yeah, it's a slow drip fade in. The lyrics come in around 37 seconds. Reminds me of something, but I can't really put my finger on it. But it has Devotchka vibes. And we've covered Devotchka, I'm pretty sure.
At least one song.
Yeah, just the bonus. We haven't done one of their albums. But around the minute mark, the song really explodes. Specifically, right at 104, the title drops, "The Night Will Always Win." The opening lyrics, "I throw this to the wind, but what if I was right? Well, did you trust your noble dreams and gentle expectations to the mercy of the night?" It's very simple writing, but it really sticks and captures like the theme of the song. The night will always win. The night has darkness on its side. I don't know. It's very well written. Um, Garvey does a hell of a job on the vocals again here. I'm kind of curious what this sounds like live. We should, and I mentioned this last week. We need to find a live recording of it and listen to it because I'm assuming there's some real emotion behind it
Yeah.
because it's a bittersweet tribute to their friend who passed away, Brian Clancy. And the lyrics hit different once I read into that. "I miss your stupid face. I miss your bad advice." At first, I kind of took those like at face value, but now I'm like, it's just like two friends kind of teasing each other. Um, "I tried to clothe your bones with scratches, super hates, exaggerated stories, and old tunes, but never by the moon. But not the state I'm in. The night will
Never the
always
state.
win."
Never the state I'm in.
Oh, is it? I put
Well, maybe. I don't know. It's
but not the
repeated in the
state.
song, I
Yeah, it's
know.
hard to say. I could have either copy and pasted
Sorry.
or I just no. You're good. Either way though, whichever way Garvey sang it, excellent though. I really think it's a solid song. It's not meant for an everyday listening by no means, but I feel like it really fills the cup if you're grieving something or loss or anything like that. It's an emotional track, 100%. At least for me, especially even knowing that I kind of put myself in that headspace. Um, I'm sure people have had a good cry to it, and I think that's kind of what makes this track so special. It is. I'll let the cat out of the bag on this one. It is my highest scoring track with a 4.1.
Respect. So I got my introduction to the song was through the opening cutscene of Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which I don't know if I told you, but they just brought that over to like the newer consoles. Like
I think I
they,
heard something about that.
which I mean, it
Is
came
it
out
remastered or?
something like that. I think I don't
Yeah.
know enough about it, but it's cool. It's cool they did that. It's a very cinematic song that has stuck with me over the years. The opening to the song is really commanding. There is this like hum that kind of builds for a few seconds. Then we get the repeating like low key from the piano is played over and over. It really draws you in, like waiting to see where this goes. The vocals hit 36 seconds in as the repeating key is now a higher key. The instruments used here are very limited, but it makes for a very heavy atmosphere, especially paired up with the cryptic yet deep lyrics. The instrumentation syncs up with the vocals almost like the vocals are like directing the instruments themselves. I throw
Garvey's the conductor.
That's right.
He's the maestro.
He is. I throw this to the wind, but what if I was right? Well, did you trust your noble dreams and gentle expectations to the mercy of the night? I tried to clothe your bones with scratches, super eights, exaggerated stories, and old tunes, but never by the moon, and never the state I'm in. I always like that. Never the state I'm in. Like, I don't know. It's just like, how am I feeling? How am I doing? How am I like grappling with like
In
all of
this moment.
this? Yeah. And I thought that's a really nice piece of writing. I really like their writing.
No, their writing is excellent.
I feel like if their writing was like not as good,
Yeah,
I
it would.
would not like them as
Yeah, it would
much.
bump it down a tier.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they make it work.
Mhm.
The night will always win. The deeper keys come back to close out the song. And I love, again, this is another ending that I really love. I love the way that, like, the repeating keys go slower. Boom, 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 boom.
It slowly loses its momentum. Do you think that's maybe to? I just thinking this off the cuff to emulate like someone passing away. Like
That's
you
the night
slowly.
winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's like poetry.
That's
No, I shouldn't even joke about that. No, it is. It is a beautiful song in its own way.
And I'm glad that like because I mean like you said and like I said I mean we both were like hey we thought the same thing. This does have like very serious like debauchka vibes.
Mhm.
Like it reminds me a lot of how it ends. And now that we're talking about it, I kind of want to go back and see like what you gave how it ends just to see how it like which one of these. If I had a guess between the two, you probably gave how it ends on
Yeah.
higher score, but Then again, I mean, this is newer. You know what I mean? I didn't put you onto this forever and a day ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I mean, and the song ends with just like after the keys slow down, we just are left with the hum, and the song just it's over. The song has like a lullaby sound to it, making reference to dreams, darkness, the moon, and of course the night itself. The song oozes atmosphere, and I think it's incredibly simplistic yet really well made. Um, and I also like between this and Jesus is a Rochdale Girl, they make references to like older forms of media, like 45 CDs.
Do you think the 45s and then
Yeah,
CDs? Yeah.
that, and then on this it's Super 8s, like Super 8 film, like
Hmm.
the cameras from back in the
Hmm.
day, and it's very nostalgic, and I like that.
It's a time capsule almost.
I basically damn near copied and
That's
pasted
literally
all
what I
of
did.
all of my notes from last week's bonus, but I can definitely say that like with the context of like the rest of this album leading up to this point, one comes later, I definitely enjoy this listen more. You know what I mean? Just that
Yeah,
get the
same.
full context of the whole thing. But on that note, we are going to go ahead and take a break, and we will be right back. And we are back for track number 7. We have High Ideals coming in at 5 minutes and 39 seconds. So the song opens with a quick little bit of drumsticks tapping. The drums, it's like they stop before the maraca starts to shake. About 5 seconds in, the drums, the bass line, the snapping, they come in. After about 20 seconds, some more metallic drumming comes in, followed by what sounds like a mix of strings and piano keys. And I think maybe a little bit of electric guitar too, perhaps? It's kind of hard to tell with all of these different instruments and sounds all coming together. Around 120, we get more traditional piano as the vocals come in. And any noble fire that was burning in my chest is acid in my belly at the very best. The song is very dense. It's not very dense lyrically. It has 12 lines of lyrics, two of which I just listed. It really does take its time, just letting us sit in the like grand instrumentation that they set up. At 2:45, the music pulls back completely, and we get this deep hum as Guy sings softly. You're so far away, but she's right here by your side. Oh, settle down, little heart of mine. Oh. The guitar starts to quietly pick up before the music comes back alongside the hum at 3:28. From here until the end of the song is full instrumental with a lot of interplay between these very distinct sounds. While not a favorite of mine off of this album, this song is very well made and has a lot to admire and to point out. I give it a 3.4 out of 5.
Okay. I'm slightly higher on this, but yeah, I thought it's a little bit higher on the intro, like the energy. Kind of heavy on the synth and the bass. Some interesting percussion, as you said, the maracas. I didn't see that, but I don't know if I really looked for it. But I think that pins the tail on the donkey there. The percussion is very deep and vibrant, and combined with some finger snaps. Piano gets thrown in there too, and it's also some brass instrumentation later on. We'll get there. Obviously, can't forget the guitars, bass, because acoustic and electric, from what I read and what I could hear. But it's more of a piano synth heavy song to me. Maybe some keyboard. Um, there's a nice little foreplay to the lyrics that appear at 122, minute 22. The lyrics, while I consider this another well written track, nothing really jumped off the page to me. And for a track just short of 6 minutes, there's really not an abundance of lyrics. As you said, there's only 12 lines. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pick anything, it would be the opening verse. There's a ladder tier, and my high ideals. Um, like I took a chair on the battlefield, and any noble fire that was burning in my chest is acid in my belly at the very best. Simple rhyming, chest, best. That's very simple. Garvey's mostly just talk singing, and the music is well toned down for most of Garvey's deliveries, but the music will swell occasionally with his vocals. The last verse is delivered, it comes just shy of 3.5 minutes. Oh, settle down, little heart of mine. After that, the song is just instrumental. This is where the brass instrumentation is most noticed for me personally. The long instrumental, while I find it didn't really move the meter for me, but overall, the middle of the track and the areas where Garvey is singing on the track is fine. Like that's more the high point of the track for me. It just kind of sort of dragged out for me. Not a terrible track, and by no means my least favorite, but just really didn't do a lot for me. And I think just coming off of The Night Will Always Win, it was kind of it's hard to compare those. So I give this a 3.5. I feel like both of us were kind of short on notes on that one. There's just not a whole lot to really sink your
Sure.
teeth into. Moving on though, track number 8, The River, short runtime, 2 minutes 51 seconds. Heavy on the piano on the intro on this one. It's nice, very dreamy, almost makes me think of a wet, rainy, stormy night. Garvey, it's said that he wrote the lyrics after watching the 2005 movie Junebug. I don't know if you ever seen that.
Hmm.
Me neither. The song uses the ideal of a river to explore the magic of childhood, which I feel like he touches on a lot of his adolescence on this album, which I like. The lyrics and the chords are meant to sound like a hymn, and I quote, "With it not without it necessarily belonging to God." So I like that. I honestly like this song. The concept is pretty solid, and it's almost like a story with the way it's delivered. Lyrics are pretty short, but the track is short too, so they kind of pair well together. I think it's a little bit refreshing as the song really doesn't lull for much. It gets going at the 35-second mark with Garvey. His voice is really singing here, not the typical talk singing delivery that we've got on and off throughout the album. I thought the opening verses were pretty solid. I walked with the river in a kind of dream, hand in hand, the all knowing river and me. The best lyrics to me, though, are the I told him my sorrows and broken down dreams. Confessed every lie, replayed every scene. He openly wept as he listened to me. Which I think it's very good, like writing there, because you're literally talking about a river. A river. He openly wept as he listened to me. I mean, it's a river. I don't know. It's very nice imagery, and I think the final verses are pretty well written too. And then with the sun in the west, he showed me the sea. I don't know. It's a nice writing again. As me and Shane have both kind of elaborated on, Garvey's writing and just the overall performance is very good. I think this is a nice breath of fresh air on the album. It's all acoustic instrumentation and Garvey's vocals being more of a natural singing, smooth delivery. It's kind of a little bit of a pick me up. I think I enjoyed the concept and the softness of the track more than I actually like the track itself. Again, this is something that I wouldn't crank up a lot or really seek out and listen to. And my notes are short on this one too, but it's still a solid track. Like I said, I think I like the concept more than the overall product, but I gave this a 3.6.
Okay. So I got song opens with some somber dramatic piano setting the tone. 32 seconds in, the vocals from Guy come in with some backing vocalization. I'll walk through the river in a kind of dream, hand in hand, the all-knowing river and me. The song is pretty limited, with such a short runtime being the shortest full song off the album. I already listed about a quarter of the lyrics just there. At 108, we get some more instrumental from the piano with no vocals before they come back at 133. At 209 through until um, until the end is all instrumental with piano. I like how the song starts off with the river and ends up with the sea. There isn't much else to the song. Short runtime, simple music, little lyrics. It's not a bad song. It certainly fits the band, but I don't really see myself coming back to this song often unless it's just me listening to this album all the all the way through. I give this a 3.1 out of 5, which like may seem low, but like there's just
You
not
don't like the river at all?
there's not terribly a lot to the song.
No, I feel like we've been kind of short on notes the last couple songs because there's just
Yeah.
not a lot to talk about.
On Two Open Arms, coming in at 4 minutes 53 seconds, some like distant keys open the song. 5 seconds in, the vocals come in along with some very digital sounding like beeps and boops. Uh, feels like
Chill
an
out there, Mr. Roboto.
it feels like an odd inclusion in the album, but it fits. At 45 seconds, we get a drum beat and these metallic slapping of strings as the pace starts building up for about 20 seconds before the chorus hits with plenty of backing vocals where it hits the we've got open arms for broken hearts like yours, my boy, come home again. At 2:45, we get these deep bass beats as the guitar comes in even more. Everyone's here. The moon's out looking for trouble, and everyone's here. The last minute of the song, it reaches its peak as the vocals alternate between the main and the backing. The song comes to a close, and we get a little bit of chatter, which leads into the next song. I gave this a 3.4 out of 5.
Okay. We're close on this one, too. Um, Open Arms starts pretty quick. It sounds to me like keyboard, like a synth keyboard effect on the intro. Garvey's vocals show themselves pretty quickly, too, right around the 5 second mark, so instantly we're jumping in. Vocals are super clear, and it's sort of a mix of talk singing and just normal singing, as we've got throughout the album. Track is very vocal heavy till around the 45 seconds when the percussion starts to make some noise. This track also features the same choir, which we've touched on throughout the album. Most, I think, notable on the track with Love. But the choir is very noticeable here, too, on the chorus. But other times, too, but predominantly the chorus. The opening verse, you're a law unto yourself, and we don't suffer. We don't suffer dreamers, but neither should you walk the earth alone. The delivery is more Garvey talk singing and mostly just him is all you hear with the subtle music in the background. But at the minute 6 second mark, the vocal work kind of peaks with Garvey and the chorus coming together on the delivery of "We got open arms for broken hearts like yours, my boy, come home again." Musically, the track doesn't veer too much or get too crazy. Just standard elbow instrumentation, the bass guitar, your acoustic, electric guitar, keyboard, piano, and some percussion. Overall, I like the song. It's pretty upbeat, and it's a feel-good song. I didn't really connect with it 100% by no means. It didn't knock my socks off or anything, but I think it's still good writing, and it's a feel-good song. Especially when they come into the chorus, it definitely adds a vibe. It kind of comes off as an anthem in a way. The song is
Yeah,
really pretty with the message of unconditional love, and I think that's again goes back to what I mentioned. Um, I don't know if it's a previous track or before, but just Garvey kind of digging into more of his past, his adolescence, and I think that's what it is. And Open Arms is a fine tune just based on that because it reminds me a little bit of the river on how it makes me feel. It's just I don't know, it's got a little bit of emotion behind it, but I too was not crazy about this. I think it is good, especially with the choir backing it up, but I was still kind of low on this with a 3.5. Now we'll move us to track number 10, and no, this is not a typo. Same as track number 1, we got the Birds. This is track number 10, though, the Birds reprise. The runtime very, very long. Kidding, very short. Same thing, though. Backwards, same as it is forwards. I had the runtime as 1 minute, 31 seconds. Utilizing the same vocals from the opening track, the birds are keepers of our secrets. They saw us where we lay, in the deepest grass of springtime and a reckless, guilty haze. The track is very brief. The reprise features spoken word vocals by John Turner, who is he's a piano turner that worked with the band on the album, which I thought was pretty neat that they incorporated him. Reminds me a little bit of Thurgerson, not sure, but he worked on he was a doorkeeper I think at Abbey Road Studios, and he did a lot of vocal work on Dark Side of the Moon.
really.
This is kind of what it gave me the vibes of because Turner, I don't want to mention it here. Everything I read, they were like, yeah, he's an elderly guy. And it's like, don't disrespect the man because he's old. But it definitely sounds like an older man singing it. So, rightfully so. Um, It's an okay song. I mean, it's very short, nothing fancy here. I'm gonna go low on it just based on the track. With the lack of substance, it's very short. It's not a bad listen again if this is a physical copy. I mean, it's only a minute and a half long, so it's very short and easy breezy. There's not a lot of meat on it, but I do like the band incorporating the piano tuner. I think that's a nice little touch. I didn't go high on this, as you would imagine. I gave this a 3.1.
Okay. So I have this track is obviously a callback to the opening track. It opens with some background chatter carried over from the last track from Open Arms, as some vocalization hums can be heard before you hear a metallic squeal, almost sounding like a train coming to a stop. The backing vocalization by the chorus reminds me. I don't know. It's kind of serving as like the chorus itself is almost serving as the music. The lyrics are spoken word delivery by John Turner. Uh, as you said, uh, the birds are the keepers of our secrets as they saw us where we lay in the deepest grass of springtime in a reckless, guilty haze. I feel like John's vocal delivery really serves this album well, as it's a great inclusion as an interlude before the final track. While I don't find myself coming back to this track, it definitely like cements its spot on the album. I feel like it fits. I give it a 3.3 out of 5.
No, we're close enough on that one.
On to track number 11, we have Dear Friends coming in at 5 minutes and 1 seconds. Song opens with a hum, reminiscent of like The Night Will Always Win, before the guitar, piano, and drums come in at 4 seconds, which such a much lighter, almost hopeful tone to the song. At 35 seconds, these very light strings pick up, leading to the vocals. The song comes off as melancholic, contemplative, nostalgic, and overall, I just thought it sounded very sincere. I feel like that summarizes a lot of this album, really.
Yeah.
The vocals on this track make the lyrics not come across as lyrics, but more so as like a letter to dear friends. Dear friends, you are angels and drunks, you are May child. Old friends, you stuck a pin in my pile of sin, and sign this is a note for the road sign, cutting the breeze in this Tennessee sundown. At 3 minutes, the vocals move away from lyrics and more into ethereal vocalization to pair up with the instrumentation. As I said earlier, the song is contemplative and it really makes you think just about life. The last 40 seconds or so of the song, the music starts to wind down as we get more of the of brass instruments to close out the song and the album. I gave this a 3.7 out of 5.
So yeah, uh, I scrolled up too far. Track starts in a manner that makes it perfect for the closing track, in my opinion. I'm usually a stickler on closing tracks, but with this album, if you're listening and you're still with us, we thank you. But I really analyze the opening track as being good, but I think the closing track is excellent too. It's very emotive sounding, and that is even before Garvey's vocals start, which come in a small swell in the instrumental intro, around 41 seconds. His delivery is very stretched out with the delivery of "Dear Friends" before tightening up a bit, but he still has the delivery is he's patient. He takes his time, not in a hurry. The opening verse in full reads as "Dear friends, you are angels and drunks, you are a May child, old friends." It's very sweet and melodic, with the piano, the guitars, and the percussion. The violin and the cello are both also utilized during this performance. They aren't super noticeable, but they are there. Again, just adding to the raw emotion that matches Garvey's vocals. The song Dear Friends, I read, is a tribute to friendship and connection, written by Garvey when he was homesick on tour in Tennessee. The lyrics serve as a casual, poetic thank you to people who anchored him, describing them as guiding stars and constant emotional home, which I think is true. Even like, I don't know, just like road tripping when I went out to Arizona for you're in Alex's wedding. But like, I don't know, I can kind of relate to it in a way. Um, I especially like the final verse. You stuck a pin in my pile of sin, and you are the stars I navigate home by. Again, the writing is probably like one of the highest points of this album. It's very solid, as you said earlier, Shane. If the writing wasn't as good on this album, it wouldn't be as enjoyable or an easy of a listen. That line, the final verse, is delivered right before the 3 minute mark, and after that, we just get some filler oohs and ahs, which I believe is all Garvey. I didn't see any other mention of anyone else with the backing vocals on this track. I think this is both musically and vocally a solid way to end the album. I'm not huge on the I'm not a big fan of the 2 minute instrumental finish at the end, but again, it's the closing track. It slowly brings the album to the end. I'm similar with you on this. What'd you give it? A 3.5?
3.7.
Okay, I'm actually a little bit lower than you. I gave this a 3.6.
Okay,
Bada bing.
right on. So overall, what were your thoughts on the
I
album?
liked it. I mean, we covered it as a bonus last week, and I don't know. I thought the night would, uh,
Will always win.
yeah, the night will always win. Thank you. I thought that was going to be like the highest point of the album, and it was my highest score. I think that's just something we've touched on before during the pod. Usually, the first song or the first album you listen to by a band is something that's hard to.
Top.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. So I think that's why I stuck with that as my high score. But overall, there was other tracks that I liked more. Like With Love, I really enjoy that song. Like I said, I was listening to it today at work. It came up randomly, and I really got into it. Probably more than I would have The Night Would Always Win. But I think Elbow is kind of an emotional band in a way. Like they put of the writing again. Garvey's writing is phenomenal.
I definitely wouldn't like put them on for someone to be like, "Yo, this
Yeah,
slaps."
this is fire. No, not at
It's
all. It's something that you have to be in the right mindset to listen to. Which I don't know if I find myself a lot in that mindset to want to listen to this, but like I said today, it popped up, and some of their stuff is more rock and rollish sounding, so it's good. It is an album I would consider if I had a physical copy of it. I mean, I'd pay money for the physical copy. Not something I'm jumping out to go buy right now, like you know. But if I seen it somewhere, yeah, I would definitely get a copy of it. It's not a bad album by no means. I mean, I feel like I hovered around the middle threes throughout the album, but I still think that's a pretty good score, and none of it dragged me at all. It was all very easy and palatable.
yeah. I would say even at its lowest, like
Not bad.
I'm not put off by
No,
it by
no,
any
none of it was
means.
like, oh, I can't wait
Poo
till the next.
poo.
Yeah, there was really. I mean, I know we kind of talked. I believe it was off mic how the album was a little bit front heavy, but it never really like.
Went off a cliff.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah, no, it wasn't bad by any means.
So yeah, no, I thought this was solid. It had, I mean, for going in only knowing like one real track off of it, I was pleasantly surprised. Jesus is a Rochdale Girl is fantastic. I
Yep.
absolutely love that, and I feel like a lot of the other songs off this album like really find their place amongst it. Like they all have a lot of. I feel like a lot of heart went into this album.
Hmm.
And I feel like you can't that can't be that can't be understated. I feel like there's a lot to this that is there to admire. I'm happy we ended up going with this. If nothing else, like I wanted to listen to something by them,
Hmm.
and I feel like this is a good pick.
Hmm. I
So
agree.
on to the bonus track. You want me?
Yeah, go ahead and go first.
Okay. So bonus track, as Mike said, is "Teacher" by Jethro Tull. So the song like opens with like full instrumentation right away between the guitar, the drums, the bass guitar, and it sounds like some like keys as well can be heard. 15 seconds in, the vocals hit, the delivery of which has like a bit of a funky delivery, as each final word of a set of lyrics has like a yeah. Uh, I do like the theme of this song, just a wise man imparting knowledge on like to the uninitiated, to the young. Uh, at 47 seconds, the pace starts to pick up, and we get a little bit of organ. No sense in sitting there hating everyone. No man's an island, and his island isn't home. The nest is full of nothing when the bird has flown. From 104 to 117, we get a short instrumental section that sounds like I don't know, it sounds like there's a bit of a flute in there.
Yeah, that's the signature Jethro Tull.
This comes back during the instrumental from 149 to 247, where the flute gets plenty of time to shine, with a lot of back and forth between it and the guitar, getting very erratic, almost spinning out. The last 15 or so seconds of the song, the music fades out to close the track. I give this a 3.6 out of 5. The song is just classic rock, and it has a quick, snappy pace. Doesn't get like too crazy with like its instrumentation or vocals, but like you don't need that, not for something like this. So yeah, I feel like a 3.6 out of 5 is fair for this.
hmm So yeah, this was originally released on the B side of the 1970 single "The Witch's Promise." After the release, though, of that B side, it was alternately re-recorded, and that was the version that was later released, and that's the version we're covering. Um, I was actually listening to a local radio station here. I can't think of the station itself, or I'd plug it. Um, but it came on, and I was like, "Oh, okay, Jethro Tull." I don't really know a lot by them, other than like two other songs, really, honestly. Maybe this would be the fourth one that I know off the top of my head. So I was happy to hear this one, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. The track is very 4/4 timing with that dun bum bum bum, and it changes pace a little bit to like a 2/4 as it picks up on certain transitions before slowing back down. Excuse me. As Shane said too, the organ is pretty prominent on this track, as well as the frontman Ian Anderson playing the flute, a signature of a Jethro Tull track. And I honestly, it's kind of embarrassing. I thought Jethro Tull was literally the lead singer, but no, Ian Anderson is the lead singer. Jethro Tull is the band. I was kind of dumbfounded by that. But Teacher was written by the frontman, Ian Anderson. He later said the song was influenced by his skepticism of teacher-like gurus who had been influencing other musicians of the time. Um, they also said that just critics, people have also perceived the song to be about the band's manager at the time, Terry Ellis, with lyrics like he said, "My name's the teacher. Oh, that is what I call myself, and I have a lesson that I must impart to you. It's an old expression, but I must insist it's true." With those lyrics, I totally see the connection. I feel like in rock, there's always a track. Name your artist: Tool with Ticks and Leeches, Pink Floyd with Have a Cigar. These songs are all kind of pointing their finger at the record company, a manager, something along those lines. Another lyric I liked was, "Then the teacher told me it had been a lot of fun. Thanked me for his ticket and all that I had done." It's kind of just like they reap the success of the group, which I think is again just a common theme in rock and roll music, and really any genre. There's always people fighting with their label, their record company, whatever. I think it's a pretty chill song, and I find it easy listening. I was just a little bit higher than you on this, Shane, as I feel like I should be, because it
Hmm.
was my pick. I gave this a 3.8 out of 5.
Okay.
So next week's album, I'm going to
Yep.
give it to you guys, and then Shane will tell you the bonus. So next week, we are going to next week we're going to be doing a little tribute. We're going to dedicate next week's episode to the late great Lou Reed. We're going to do his album Transformers. He just passed away, and we've actually, funny enough, we covered a bonus.
Of his not that long
Yeah,
ago.
really not that long ago at all. So yeah, look forward to that next week on the show. And then Shane, go ahead and tell us again what the bonus is going to be.
So it is going to be Elysis by Mick G. That's Mick G with a K, not a C. So yeah, tune in next week. Be there or be square. And until next time,
Don't work too hard now.